Hi, it's Patrick. In this video I'm going to show you how to create a site, and then I'm going to show you how to FTP your files to the EDTECH server. So the first thing you do when you open Dreamweaver, and you should do this before you ever create your first web page, is you want to go to Site and create a new site. Now, in a previous video I showed you how to do this, but I'm showing you this again in case you forgot. And so in this case I'm just going to call this EDTECH example. You want to give your site a name. Then you want to decide where in your computer you're going to save everything. I have a folder called Websites, so I'm going to call this EDTECH example. And then I'm going to hit Choose. Now usually within this folder, I would also go ahead and create a folder for images, and a folder for styles. And then I'd select the main folder and hit Choose. And just like that, I've created a site and I can hit Save. Now I need to take it a step further and actually add some server information if I want to upload this later to a server. So click on Servers on the left, and then click this plus sign, and then you would give your server a name. And so for EDTECH 2, and I'm going to show you this twice, you're going to go down to Ftp Explicit Encryption. You want to type in the address. In this case it's edtech2.boisestate.edu. If you're uploading to your own personal server, this would be different. Then you're going to enter in your Boise State credentials. These are the same as your email. And every 90 days when your email password needs to be updated, you need to come back in here and update your password here. So I always click Test to make sure it works. Okay, here it gives me an error and it says try toggling use passive FTP. So I'm going to hit OK. So I'm going to go down to More Options. I'm going to undo this and I'm going to hit Test again. Just like that, I'm successful. So I'm going to save it and hit Save again. So just like that, I have a site definition or a new site that's connected to a server. So if I hit Connect to Remote Server, I can see that it connects me. So in one of the first videos, I showed you how to create your EDTECH site, but we didn't add any server information. So in this case, if you ever want to update a site, you go to Site, Manage Sites. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this example we just created. All this is deleting this information, this site information. It's not actually deleting any files. So I'm safe to click Yes. But this is the one I created earlier, and I want to add server information. So this is the same thing I'd do if I want to go back and update my password once it expires. I click on the pencil, I click on Servers, and I click the plus sign, and I'm going to add my EDTECH 2 information. This is the same thing we just did. We're just repeating it just to show you. Gonna hit Test again. And just like before, it gives me that error. So I'm just going to go ahead, and every server acts a little different. I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to click Test, and it looks good. And I'm going to hit Save. So now I've created my connection. Now keep in mind that if you're having problems connecting, the first thing to always check is your password. Also keep in mind that you might have problems if you're trying to connect in a public place or at work because they might have some restrictions on FTP. So I'm going to hit Save, I'm going to hit Done, and now I've created my site. If I hit Connect to Remote Server, I can see that it works great. So now we're going to FTP the plain 502 page and the 502 page to that EDTECH server. So you can use these get and put options as well as the synchronize option, but what I like to do is I like to expand this window. Okay, so here's my remote server. It's going to look a little different than yours. Not only do I have a lot of files, I have administrative access, so the top of my remote server looks a little different. So what I like to do is I like to drag and drop my files onto my remote server. Now you can run into problems if you drag it in the wrong place, but I find that it often works better than using this put option, especially when you're brand new, because you can control, if you're careful, where your files go. Okay, so I'm going to drag this over a little. I like to be able to see specifically this modified date information because it helps me later sometimes compare when the last time I've uploaded a file. Okay, so I'm going to click on my 502 folder, just going to drag it over. It's going to ask me, do I want to upload dependent files? And I do. In this case, that's really just the CSS file related to the 502 page. And I'm going to hit Yes. And so you notice it's uploading three things. So it uploaded my 502 page, my plain page, and my 502 CSS. Now later, if you have just one file you want to upload, for instance, let's say I make some changes to the 502 page, I can just click on that file and I can drag it over and it will upload the newest version. Now if I'm not sure if it uploaded correctly, I can always look at the date time, so that would be helpful. The other thing that you can keep in mind is that you can always click on a file on the server side and right click, and you can rename it, you can delete it. The other thing to keep in mind is that I can always right click and create a new folder. For instance, perhaps I want a folder for a class called 505. And so just like that, I was able to create it. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've uploaded those files to EDTECH 2, I'm going to open my web browser and I'm going to try to track down where they are. Okay, so I'm in Firefox and I'm going to go to edtech2.boisestate.edu. That's the first place you start. Then you want to enter in your user information. So this is just your username for your account. And in this case, if you remember, I put everything in a folder called 502. Now then, my first file is actually named plain 502.html. Keep in mind there's no spaces. Spaces give you problems, as well as nothing's capitalized. Now if I hit return, there it is. Now if you remember, the name of the 502 page is just 502.html. So if I get rid of the plain, I can locate there. So that looks great. So I was able to successfully upload both of my files. Now, problems that students sometimes have is they will forget to upload the 502 folder, and so they'll just have the 502 file at basically the root level of their site, right? Or what happens is sometimes they might even have a folder called EDTECH 502 and then a 502 folder, right? And mine's not there either. So it's a matter of, sometimes you can troubleshoot and find out what problem you had, and then you can basically rename, drag and drop, and basically fix the problem on the remote side of your server. So with that, I just quickly showed you how to create a new site in Dreamer, add some server information. Then I showed you how to manage a site and update and add information for a server. And then I showed you how to upload 2 files, and then how to check in a web browser and how to locate where they're located. In another video, I'll show you how to actually validate your code, add some validation badges, and then re-upload them. Thanks.